And so I have another video for you here today about why you're always hungry. That's a common problem with people. You know, they're eating, they feel like they're eating a lot, but yet they're always hungry. And what it comes down to really is not necessarily how much you eat, but what you're eating. And our diets now are filled with a lot of added sugar and then refined starches, carbohydrates, which break straight down to sugar once you ingest them, right? So what happens when you eat, essentially you know, it's like if it's a lot of sugar in your meals, and for example, let's just give an example of like a day, like somebody's diet for a day, right? Start breakfast, for example, a bagel, coffee with a lot of sugar or sweetened creamer, right? And then you may or may not have a glass of apple juice or orange juice as well, right? So you can see that that's quite a significant amount of added sugar there, and also refined starches, specifically the bagel, which will break straight down into sugar once it gets digested, right? Then mid-morning you might have some biscuits, you know, some like maybe sometimes they're these biscuits with cheese or peanut butter, right? But it's white flour biscuits, very refined. Then for lunch you might have like some like pasta, spaghetti, right? A big sort of plate or bowl of that with some meat sauce at the top, on the top. These pasta sauces do have added sugar, and then you may or may not have a small salad at the side, and then with that you might have a can of soda or a bottle of juice, drink, or some other sweetened beverage, right? Again, lots of grams of sugar with that meal. Then mid-afternoon you might have like a granola, right? And these granola bars, even though they're supposedly or they're certainly marketed as health food, then they do have a lot of added sugar. So again, a high load of sugar there, refined starch as well in the form of the pasta, which will break straight down into sugar as soon as you digest it, right? And then in the evening, for example, you might have maybe, you know, like a chicken wrap, right? And a lot of flour in that wrap. And then you might have a little bit of chicken, small amount of vegetables in that. And then you might have another sweetened beverage and maybe like a little dessert, which is sweetened. So you can see there where the amount of sugar significantly adds up for just that one day, right? And I'm not judging, because this is what I was doing in the past. This is how I was eating, you know, love bagels, definitely love pasta and things like that, right? Not to mention, of course, the loads of added sugar. But what this does is that you eat it, and then, you know, your body and your bloodstream gets absorbed this large amount of sugar, right? You do need insulin to help metabolize that sugar, store it. We're not, because it's a large amount, you're basically eating more sugar. You're getting more sugar in your system than you can actually digest, because it's not like you're running a race or, you know, exerting lots of energy. So your muscles and your brain and so on uses up whatever it needs at that point in time, but then you're left with this excess, which therefore needs to be stored. And what stores it is the insulin, right? Insulin, of course, is that building hormone, the fat storage hormone, and it ends up storing all this excess sugar quickly, right, in the form of fat, right? So therefore, all these calories you took in, it just gets stored away as fat, right? And so, you know, suddenly, like, you're hungry. And this, you know, I was reading up on some writings by this Dr. David Ludwig. He's a Harvard professor and a scientist. And basically what he says is that you have all this food that you eat in, most of it turns out to be sugar, right? And this gets stored in the form of fat in the body, and then there's no calories or energy and nutrients left back for the other parts of the body, the brain, to, you know, keep you sustained throughout the day, right? So you get this feeling of hunger. You're just feeling hungry, right? That's how he puts it. He also says, think of it like this: if, like, when you're somebody's pregnant, right? They're not eating a lot just because they're pregnant, but basically because they have a growing fetus inside, that triggers them to eat more, right? So because they're getting bigger, they eat more, right? And so he says the same reason he's saying that it's not eating that causes obesity, but the obesity causes you to eat more, right? Because you have a bigger body, right? But you're not getting those nourishments. How I like to think of it is that you're eating, right? But it's all these kind of simple, refined foods, empty calories in the form of sugar, and you are not getting all the nutrients and building blocks that you need, all the amino acids, extra protein, all the healthy fats that the body needs, right? And then all the vitamins and minerals and other nutrients. So you eat all this food, but then you don't really get any substance from it. So then the body's like, oh my goodness, like I'm hungry. So you get this trigger to say that you're hungry because it's still thinking, oh, but I need all the essential nutrients and vitamins, right? So you're hungry within like an hour, 2 hours after, because the body didn't get what it thought it was gonna get. So you eat again, and then this vicious cycle is perpetuated, because what you eat again is gonna be something sweetened or refined, because that's just what there is, right? It's not like you are deliberately necessarily going for all this, but this is what is all around. When I'm at work, if by chance I happen to not have enough to eat, or I'm at work longer than I plan, and you look around to try to get something to eat, and all that you have is just sweetened things. Almost everything is sweet. If not, it's refined, like some kind of flour product, right? And so it's things that, again, are going to perpetuate this ongoing hunger, right? And so what it is, right, you need to have, instead of all the refined sugar and starches, more like real food. Like I always say real food, and that might sound cliche, but it's basically food that you can look at it and tell what it is without having to read the label, right? So, you know, for like a wrap or whatever, like, well, I guess it's obvious what that is, but like some sort of packaged product, you have to kind of look at the label to see exactly what it is, and then you look at it and you realize that, you know, things, you know, high fructose corn syrup and, you know, sugar and then all kinds of different chemicals, and then you see maybe some aspartame, you know, which is a sweetener, right? So you have to look at it, and then you realize all these things that are really not giving you the nourishment that your body needs, right? So that is kind of a simplified explanation as to why you're always hungry. That same Dr. Ludwig says, you know, biology is stronger than willpower, right? So as much as we think that, you know, oh yes, I'm gonna just minimize what I eat because I need to lose weight, right? But the body is going to give you that trigger for hunger, right? To say like, look, you know, I'm hungry. Now another part of this explanation is the fact that now your body is not getting all the nutrients that it needs, right? And so it kind of goes into starvation mode, because it feels like, oh my goodness, like I'm not getting the food, so I need to slow down everything. I can't use up all the little energy that I have, and so the metabolism actually slows down, right? And so you might feel like, you know, you're eating less and less, but you're gaining weight, or you're certainly not losing weight, and it's because the metabolism slows down in response to you eating either less or eating food that is not nutritionally dense, food that is empty calories. It's not giving you all the nutrients that your body needs to function, and so the vicious cycle is basically perpetuated, right? So again, like I said, stop focusing on maybe how much and eating like these refined foods that really don't give you much substance, right? And then just look at the real food that there is, food that your forefathers would have eaten, right? Just real food, real meat, you know, whatever, you know, like people worry about fat, but basically fat is what also helps to keep you satisfied for longer. Avocado, olive oil, you know, nuts are a very good source of healthy fats as well, right? Any kind of nuts, Brazil nuts, macadamia nuts, almond nuts, pecans, whatever, right? Those are also good and actually good for like an in-between snack as well, to kind of keep you going and energized for the rest of the day, right? So don't think of it as, you know, how much you're eating this little bit or whatever, or you might be eating a lot, but it's like the quality of the food that you're eating is just not giving you the nourishment that you need to keep you going. And so the body will respond just naturally, biologically, by just giving you, like triggering the hunger feeling again, until you eat the right or appropriate food with the nutrients to give the body what it wants, and then you won't have that hunger anymore, because the body got what it wants, it's satisfied, and so things will work as they should, okay? I hope you all found this helpful. If you need like a kind of a kickstart, or you know, like a little help with just starting to reduce your sugar intake, you can download this free guide that I've prepared. It kind of shows you how to spot added sugar in different foods, and sort of gives you a goal, like where you should aim to have your added sugar intake. Of course, close to zero, but certainly not more than 24 grams per day. But that guide goes through, is like a good sort of starting point for you to get you started, because it's really important. You know, the sugar is basically killing us slowly. And I'm saying that as somebody who was, you know, in that position before, kind of addicted to sugar and eating all these refined starches, and now the fact that I was able to get over it. So Share this if you feel like it was helpful. Thank you for watching, and I will come to you with another video again next week. Okay, have a good day.